Hey y'all, what's up? All right, so first thing I need to say is I do apologize for not putting in the video up yesterday. I was just lazy and I didn't want to do it. Okay. All right, so here's what today's video is going to look like. Today's video is going to do both yesterday's 6.6a recap and today's recap of 6.6b. Okay. All right, so 6.6a and 6.6b. Okay, those are both dealing with adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers. Okay, so what we need to do first is go back over the rules. Okay, these were the rules that a lot of people had problems with. So we need to go ahead and make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, so here's what I mean by the integer rules. Okay, all right, so first, if I'm adding, if the signs are the same, so let's say if I'm adding a positive and a positive, I'm going to get a positive. If I'm adding together a negative and a negative, I'm going to get a negative. Okay? So if the signs are the same, we're just going to add it together. The signs are the same, we're just going to add it together. If the signs are not the same, so let's say if I want to add together -6 and a +4, okay? These signs are not the same. So if the signs are not the same when we're adding, we're actually going to subtract it. So 6 minus 4 is 2. But we're going to keep the sign of the larger number, okay? And what we mean by that is the number that's actually going to be the furthest away from 0. 6 is further away from 0 than 4, so we're going to keep this sign. So -6 plus 4 is equal to -2. Big recommendation here, use a number line, okay? Google a number line. If you find a number line, use that to help you. Okay. All right. So let's try another one. So let's say if we have 10 plus -4. Okay. This plus negative, you will see that showing up here in a second. If it's plus negative, that just means subtract. But we're going to subtract these two. 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay. 10 is further away from 0 than 4, so my answer is going to be positive. So 10 plus -4, again, that just means 10 minus 4 is equal to 6. Okay? All right. So the next one we need to look at is subtracting. Okay, if I'm going to subtract, if I have two integers that I'm going to subtract, I'm going to use the keep, change rule. Okay? I'm going to use the keep, change. I'm going to keep the first integer, so whatever one comes first. I'm going to change the subtraction to addition. So subtraction to addition. And I'm going to change the second integer to its opposite. Okay? So here's what I mean by that. So let's look at this one. I'm just going to randomly make up in my head. So if I have -4 minus 12. Okay? I'm going to do keep, change. I'm going to keep the -4. I'm going to change the subtraction to addition. And I'm going to make positive 12. Okay, I don't have a sign over here, so I know this is positive, to its opposite, which is -12. Now, I just have to follow my addition rules. So -4 plus -12, these signs are the same. -16. Okay? Let's look at one more. So if I do -6, I'm trying to do subtraction, minus 4, we're going to do -4. So negative 6 minus negative 4. Okay. So I'm going to keep the first integer, change subtraction to addition, and I'm going to make negative 4 its opposite, which is positive 4. Now I'm going to follow my integer rules. Okay, I have a negative and a positive, not the same sign. Okay, so I'm going to subtract them. So 6 minus 4 is 2. 6 is further away from 0 than 4, so I end up with a negative sign. So it's negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2, or negative 6 minus negative 4 is negative 2. Okay. All right. Before we start looking at the only other one we need to look at is we're going to need to remember the rules if our integers, if we are multiplying or dividing. Okay. They follow the same rule. And it's the easiest one of the two. If they are both positive, it's going to be positive. If the signs are the same. So that also means if they are both negative, it's going to be positive. If the signs are the same, they are positive. If the signs are different, let's go over here. So if the signs are different, if I have a positive times a negative, negative times a positive, positive divided by a negative, or a negative divided by a positive, if the signs are not the same, my answer is going to be negative. Okay. If the signs are the same, it's going to be positive. If the signs are different, it's going to be negative. Okay. Signs are different, positive. Signs are different, negative, sorry. Signs the same, positive. Okay. All right, so let's start looking at 6.6a practice questions. Okay. Now, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and mark this one out. Because if you notice on yours, it's already done for you. Okay. It's already done for you. So all I'm doing right here on number 1 is I'm just writing out the problem for the model. Okay. Now you notice on mine's actually colored. So use this to help you. Okay. All right. So let's look at this first one. Now, what I want you to notice is this. Okay. I have 2 other arrows. If there are 2 arrows, that means I'm going to either add or subtract. If there is one continuous arrow, like here, this is showing we're multiplying or dividing. Okay? If there are more than one arrow, then you're adding or subtracting. If there's one continuous arrow, you are multiplying and or dividing. Okay? All right, so let's look at this first one. Okay, we always start with the arrow that's connected to 0. So we're going to left 1, so we're going to start negative 1. Okay? We're adding. And then you can see we're going to the right. It's going to be positive because we're going to the right. We're going to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I end up with the number sentence negative 1 because we're going to the left 1 plus 5. And if I were to add this together, okay, 5 minus 1 is 4. And 5 is further away from 0 than 1. Okay, -1 again, think by absolute value, is only 1 space away from 0. 5 is 5 spaces away from 0. So this is my number sentence. All right, here we go. So let's look at this next one, okay? So I have the colored chips. Okay, first thing I need to do is just count them. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I can tell yellow is positive, so I have a positive 7 plus, count these over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red, according to my key, is negative. So I have 7 plus -5. Since these are not the same thing, because I have a positive and a negative, I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. 7 is further away from 0 than 5. So I know my answer is positive. Okay, we're going to skip over this one. All right, so here we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to have one continuous arrow. So I know I'm either multiplying or dividing. Okay, since my arrow is going to the left, I'm going away from 0. I know I'm going to be multiplying. Okay, all right. So first thing I need to count is my jumps. These are my jumps. And my jumps are always going to be positive. Okay? My jumps are always going to be positive. So I have 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps. So I have times 4. I end at -20. So it's going to be equal to -20. And I start my jump at -5 because I'm counting by 5s, and I start here at -5. So I get the number since -5 times +4 is -20. Again, if my signs are not the same when I'm multiplying, I know my answer is going to be negative. All right. Now, this one you can technically look at it as 2 different ways. Okay. Okay, I'm going to look at my key. They're all red, so they're negative, so I can count it. 3, 6. So I'm going to end up with -6. But I can count how many is in each group. So there are 3 in each group. So -3, because they're all red, times 2 groups. My groups are positive. There's -3 in each group according to my key because they're all red. 1, 2, 3. And 3 plus 3 is 6. Again, addition, multiplication is just repeated addition. All right. And let's look at the last one. Okay. All right, so again, we don't have one consecutive arrow. It kind of looks like it. But you can see here's one, it stops, and here's another. Okay, so I know I'm either adding or subtracting. I start with the arrow connected to 0. And I can see that arrow goes all the way to -15. Now, I can see it's going, we're counting by 5s. Okay, we're going -15 to -20. So I can either write this one of 2 ways. I can either write -5, or I can write -15 plus -5. And they both end up, where's my graph end? -20. Okay. All right. Again, if you get confused, stop the video, rewind it, message me for help, classroom, email, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Again, reminder, subscribe to my channel. All right, so let's keep going. So that was all number 1. So number 2. Which expression is equivalent to 14 plus negative 5? So this is what we were talking about earlier, this plus negative. Okay? So this plus negative, again, that just ends up with 14 minus 5. 14 minus 5. So I know my answer is B. Okay? I'm not switching these around. Okay, I'm not switching them around. I just know this plus negative is just going to equal out to subtracting. Okay? All right, number 3, identify each true statement. Okay? Well, the multiplication and division are pretty easy if I remember the rule. Okay? Again, if they're the same, they're positive. If they are different, they're negative. Okay? That's only for multiplication and division. Okay? All right. So these first two, I have a positive times a negative, and it says it's going to give me a positive. This is wrong. Okay? That should be negative 35. Negative 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. That is also wrong. A negative times a negative should be a positive. Okay? All right. I'm going to hop over. I'm going to skip over the addition and subtraction for right now. And I'm going to get this division. So positive divided by a negative does give me a negative. So that one is true. All right. I have a positive divided by a negative. Does that give me a negative? Yes, it does. Okay. All right, so I found 2 so far. All right, so let's go back. So addition, if they're different like here, I'm going to subtract it. Okay. Well, a positive plus a negative. 13 is further away from 0 than negative 2. So I should have a positive answer. Okay. Plus, they did 13 plus negative 2. Again, that just means minus 2. That should be a positive 11. So I know this one is wrong. Okay. Down here, negative 3 plus 2, does that give me negative 1? Well, if I'm negative 3 is further away from 0 than positive 2, so my answer should be negative, and it is. And 3 minus 2 is 1. So that one is true. 6 minus 8 is equal to negative 2. Okay, if I change that, that'll be 6 plus negative 8. And I'm going to rewrite that because I can. That'll be negative 8 plus 6. Negative 8 is further away from 0, so I know my answer is going to be negative. And 8 minus 6 is 2. So I know this one is true. And the last one right here. So negative 4 minus negative 10 is going to be negative 14. Well, if they're subtracting, I'm going to keep change. So make that an addition. Make negative 10 as opposite, so that's positive 10. Okay. Well, now I'm adding negative 4 plus 10. 10 is further away from 0 than 4. So it's going to be positive. Just by that, I already know this answer is wrong. 10 minus 4 is 6. So I know that one is wrong. So there are only 4 correct answers. This one, both of these in this column, and this one. Okay. All right. Now, your question should look very different on this one. So it should say if W is equal to negative 5, which of these values is the largest number? So let's plug in negative 5 for W. So that's 8 times negative 5. Okay. Well, positive times a negative, that's going to be a negative. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 plus negative 5. Okay. Well, if I'm adding, both of these are not the same, so I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3, and it's a positive 3. So far, B is the correct answer. B is looking right. Okay. So C, 8 minus negative 5. So if I keep change that, plus, so 8 plus 5 is 13. And if I divide this 8 divided by negative 5, I already know my answer is going to be negative. That's going to give me a decimal. So I already know I'm not even going to worry about the decimal, because this one is going to be fit in between. That's my smallest one. Then we'll go, I'm actually going to cheat a little bit. Actually, I know my math. I can write it out. So 5 divided by 8, 1. 1 times 5 is 5. 3, decimal, 6. So 1, so it'd be negative 1 6/10. So that wouldn't be the smallest. Then we go here, then we go here. So my answer would be C. All right. Number 5, identify each expression that results equal to 0. Okay. Each, so there's going to be more than one. Okay. So negative 4 minus 4, change that. So that's going to give me negative 8. So I already know this one's out. Negative 4 minus negative 4, change, make that a plus. Make that a positive 4. This will give me a 0. So I know that one's true. 4 plus negative 4, again, that just means 4 minus 4. That will give me 0. So that one's true. That one is out because I know that's 8 because I know that since kindergarten. 4 minus negative 4. Okay. Change that to addition. Make that a positive 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. I know that one is out. 4 minus 4 is 0. So I know that one is true. Negative 4 plus 4. They're both equal. They're both equal distance. Well, negative 4 plus 4, if you owe somebody $4 and you pay them $4, you now don't owe them $8. You are paid in full. So that one is true. Negative 4 plus negative 4, the signs are the same, so I just got to add it together. Negative 8. So that one is out. So I have this one, and both of these in this column. Okay. All right. And number 6. And this one has been marked out. Well, the value of x times y, that just reads x times y. Will that be positive or negative? And you do not have to explain. Okay. Well, if you can see, y is to the right of 0, so I know this side is positive. X is to the left of 0, I know this side is negative. If I'm multiplying, and I'm multiplying two different signs, I know my answer is going to be negative. Or negative. Okay? All right. Now we're moving on to, I scared myself. Now we're moving on to 6.6b. Okay, this is just basically taking about what we just did with integers using those rules. Now we're just going to put it in a word problem. Okay, see, we only got 4 questions, so we'll be able to go through these very quickly. All right, here we go. So, number 1, Barbara entered the elevator on the 7th floor. Okay, so the 7th floor, that means the 7th floor is above the ground floor, so I know this is a positive 7. She went up 5 more floors, keyword up, so plus 5. So right now I have 7 plus 5. Down 2, so that's down is negative, so minus 2. And then finally, down 1 more floor, minus 1. Okay, what floor did Barbara exit the elevator? Okay, now You can technically do this one multiple ways. Okay? One way I thought of the other day is draw yourself out an elevator. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use order of operations. We're adding and subtracting, so I'm just got to go left to right. 7 plus 5 is 12. So I have 12 minus 2 minus 1. Okay? 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 minus 1. So she exited on the 9th floor. Okay, so let's see if that works out. She's on the 7th floor. She goes up 5 floors. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. She goes down 2 floors. 11, 10. Down 1 more. She's on the 9th floor. Okay. All right, number 2. John deposited a check for $150 into his bank account. We've talked about the word positive. That is a good thing. Okay? That's a good thing. So we're putting money into our account. So he has $150. Okay? He plans to withdraw, so this is a key word, so we're taking out $20 to fill in his car with gas each week. If summer is 2 months long, does he have enough money to keep his car running? Now, if you notice on your paper, I gave you a big hint. 2 months is 8 weeks. Okay? I even said on yours, a week is 4 months. Okay? So what I would probably do right now is take $20 and multiply that times 8 weeks. 0, 0, 0. 8 times 2 is 6. Okay, so for 2 months, it's going to take $160 to fill up his car. Okay, here's what I want you to think. He's only got 160. It takes 160. He's only got 150. Okay, so will he have enough? No. No, he will not. Okay, now that's saying if he doesn't spend any of the other money. Okay, if he fills that up, he's going to be negative $10 in the hole. And we've talked about that before. Then he owes the bank money, which is not good. Okay? Not good. Okay? All right, here we go. Number 3. Susan was standing on a balcony 32 feet above street. 32 feet above street. It's not very good grammar. And I'm terrible with grammar, but I know that. When Debbie was parking her car in the underground garage 14 feet below the street level, how far apart were the two? Okay, now we're going to set this up as a subtraction. Okay, now 32 feet above, positive 32, minus 14 feet below, minus negative 14. Okay? Because we wanted to know how far apart. Okay? This is the key. What's the difference between these two? Okay? So I'm going to change that to addition. Make negative 14 as opposite. So 32 plus 14 is going to give me 46 feet. Okay. All right, last question. A game show contestant answered 7 50-point questions in a row correctly. Okay, so what we're probably going to need to do first is multiply that together. Her score is now 200. What was her score before answering those questions? Okay. So again, the first thing you need to do is I'm going to multiply together 50. I'm terrible. This is not working out too well. Here we go. Times 7. Okay. 0 times 7 is 0. 350. So now that's how many points she just got. Her score now is 200 with these points. Okay, her score now is 200 with these points. She just got 7 questions in a row. Okay, what was her score before answering these questions? Okay, so I'm going to take 200 and I'm going to subtract that from 350. Okay, this technically, we'll talk about it here in a second after I subtract these 5. Okay, so I end up with 150. Now, here's the thing. We had to subtract the 350 from it. So technically, that should be 200 minus the 350. But this doesn't work out. Okay? This does not work out. Okay? So I know since this number is larger, this should be a negative. So I end up with negative 150. Okay? All right. So that's today's video. Again, if you get confused, ask for help, rewind the video, message me an email, Classroom, Facebook, Instagram, the works. And I'll see you all tomorrow with the next one, finishing up 6.6C with order of operations. Later.